The magic business is a huge industry, spending hundreds of billions of dollars annually. Unfortunately, many Africans rarely pay attention to the potentials inherent in the industry as a subset of the entertainment industry. On this episode, the Talk TV crew speaks to Zito Pella, a Nigerian who has been in the magic industry for more than 3 decades. Zito Pella, thank you very much for joining us on the program.
It's my pleasure.
Now, the business of magic.
Yes.
Please take us through the process. If I am going to set up an operation where I want to engage in show business and the entertainment side that I want to operate in is magic, how do I go about it?
Well, basically, you have to start from the scratch. And when I mean the scratch is you have to learn. I mean, you get to learn from professionals or formal education in schools. That's how I started. I started training under my dad, Professor Pella, at a very tender age. I was actually 7 years old when I started. And all through the years then, I was in school, primary school, secondary school. I was always going on tour with my dad because he had a very big show and it was more like a family show. So I was always in his convoy then. So I started.
You had the opportunity to learn under a master.
I started at a very tender age. I had the opportunity to learn from one of the best in the world because my dad was a member of the International Brotherhood of Magicians.
Yeah.
That's the world body of magicians. You see? So I started gradually at a tender age. I graduated when I left secondary school back in at universities. But when I got to the university, then I was studying law.
Please let me cut you short there.
Okay.
If I'm going to start the business of magic, let's assume I've undergone training, I've been found to be qualified to
Yes.
practice as a professional.
Okay.
How do I set up the organization and how do I run it profitably?
Okay. That's fine, yeah. Yeah, but you've got to have a business plan, like any other
you write
business.
business plan for magic?
Yes, you do, because you see, in recent times, then it used to be, when you talk about entrepreneurship, it used to be in business, but nowadays it's gone beyond that. It's gone into social and political activities. I mean,
So you do a business plan.
yeah, I have a business
What are the
plan.
kind of things that will be in the business plan? If you submit a business plan to me, for
If I
instance?
submit a business plan to you right now, you're going to be seeing my plans in the next 5 years, where I intend to start from, what I want to get started with, well, the second stage of it, and all the hands I'm going to need to make it.
Personnel,
Personnel, finance, marketing, branding.
So virtually the whole gamut of process that a merchandising business
Yes.
or retail business or manufacturing business undergoes is the same process that
It's the same. It's the same
organization.
process because I'm into show business. I'm a showman. I'm into show business. So I'm into the business of show. So
Okay.
I'm a showman. So I'm a show business.
What are the other things that I need to put together if I'm setting up an organization where I would want to do magic as showbiz,
Yeah.
as an entertainer? What would the organization look like? What's in terms of personnel, in terms of the structure?
Yep.
If we're talking about a manufacturing company, for instance, you know that the structure, you're going to have the MD, operations manager, admin manager, general manager, factory manager,
Okay.
finance, and so on. What's the structure of a typical magic business like?
Well, the structure of a typical magic business is going to be based on my own organization. What I do in my organization
Yeah.
is once I have a business plan, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to execute it. Then personnel, for you to put a show together, you need assistant, you need personnel. Like, this is a continuation of my dad's show, Professor Pella's show, and during his days, he was known as Professor Pella, and he had a Lady Pella, So my sister and I were playing the part of Professor and Lady Pella. Then we need stage hands because when I was growing up, me and my brothers we were the stage hands, as in stage assistants. And that was when I was learning from my dad. I was like an apprentice under him, so I was doing a master. My dad was actually my master.
And you were like the apprentice?
Yes, I was the apprentice. So basically, so now what I do is I am the magician. I have my assistant. So I need stage hands, stage assistants who are going to set up the props. Yeah.
But your own organization, the one that you head presently, the Magic Business Organization that you head, can you give us the organogram?
Okay, I'll let you know. Presently, I'm the artist. I have a manager.
You are the product.
Yes, I'm the product. Yeah. So I need someone to sell me.
Yep.
So I have a manager, which is very important, and I have a media man, a PR man,
like a publicist.
A publicist who's gonna put me in the faces of the people, social medias, newspaper, television, radio, yeah. But as it is, those are the two important posts in my organization.
Okay.
The rest I do on my own, because it's my business. I take the decision, and whatever I want to get done, I have to think fast. I make it happen. I tell my manager what he has to do, the PR what he has to do, and basically that's how I get it running.
That's how you roll. How do you prospect for business?
Well, basically the manager does most of it. The manager does most of it because that's his job, to just go out, and they have to really be in town to know what's going on, know what events coming up, who to talk to, and I won't want to do that. I tell my manager and I tell people around me that I really want to concentrate on my hat. All the time I want to practice my hat. So if you wake me up in the middle of the night that there's a show anywhere in the world, I just want to come and get everything done.
So you free yourself from the business side as much as you can.
Yes, I try
so that
to.
you can concentrate on the arts.
So that I can concentrate on the hat. But
you,
as we all know, people are very difficult to manage. So you still have to monitor them. You still have to push them. But it's working.
Now, you started magic at a very tender age.
Yes.
You've been involved in it, and you knew that you were going to take it up as a profession. Yet you went on to bag an LLB and LLM in law.
Yes.
I can imagine a lot of lawyers out there feeling to themselves, how could you just go and get an LLM, a master's degree in law, and this is all you have to do? Is there any correlation, is there any relevance between that which you studied in school and the business of magic that you practice at the moment?
Yeah, basically when I started out as a student, yeah, I just had this whatever I wanted to be a lawyer. You get it? So I started with that. I was going to school from my not in my primary school. My primary school days, no idea. I was just doing my secondary school. I started having the ideas. Okay, I want to be a lawyer, and my dad actually supported it. He wanted me to be. You see, but at a very tender age, I've been assisting my dad on stage, and he saw the enthusiasm in me, and he knew I was really, really interested in magic too.
Yeah.
So he was training me in magic.
Let me know, please.
Yes.
The training you had as a lawyer,
Yes.
how has it impacted on your operation? In what ways? And I want us to be specific now. In what ways has it impacted on your operation?
Yeah, basically it has impacted on my operation because nowadays as a magician I do contracts. I get contracts to perform, and with corporate companies. I study the agreement myself. I don't need a lawyer to interpret it to me. You know, there are lots of contracts that you can fault. I mean, maybe there's some hidden things in contract. I do fish it out as a lawyer, because I get for you to go and perform maybe in America or in England, there must be a contract. So when they bring the contract, they'll say, okay, let's meet so place with a lawyer. I don't need a lawyer, I'm one. So I go through that. And
take us through the industry. What's the industry like globally and nationally on the African continent?
okay, Yeah, you see, in let's start from Nigeria. My dad, my dad was the only professional magician in Nigeria, Professor Pella. When I was growing up, there was no other magician in Nigeria except for Professor Pella, and that was where I started my training. I mean, he was representing Nigeria in other parts of the world. He was a member of the International Brotherhood of Magicians. They have these annual conventions. My dad will go. Sometimes when I wasn't in school, I'll go with him.
So there's an annual gathering of magicians?
Yes, there is an annual gathering of magicians in the US and in the UK.
I know you're also a member of the Brotherhood. We still come back to touch about the industry. You're also a member of the International Brotherhood of Magicians.
Yes, I'm a member.
So you must have been going for conventions. What kind of things happen at the convention?
So it starts from the church. It's a 5-day thing. It starts from the church. After prayers, we have exhibitors. You go to the exhibition hall. You buy what you want to buy. You see who you want to see. You meet people. You meet great magicians. I was a very young boy when I met David Copperfield. David Copperfield, the foremost magician in America. He was my dad's friend. I met him at a convention in Las Vegas. You see, so it brings magicians all over the world together. So it starts from the church. You network, you share ideas,
and there are exhibitors.
Exhibitors. So it's like a 5-day thing. We have banquets, we have dinner, we have all kind of things you can imagine in a convention. So at the end of the day, at the end of the 5th day, it's still a prayer, a Thanksgiving prayer in the church.
And everybody departs.
Coming up.
What do you say magic is in your own parlance? And let me be specific here. In our climb here, we conceive of magic as something that has to do with voodoo or occultism or mysticism or animism, spiritism. Isn't that what magic is all about? Now, from that convention, everybody goes back to their location. Now, tell us what the industry is like besides the convention. What are the other activities in the industry that you can say these are the things that define the magic business industry in the world as of today?
Yeah, I'll tell you, and I'm going to use David Copperfield as a study case.
Okay.
Because he's one of the prominent, he's the prominent magician in America, you see. He's been on for a very long time, and I'll tell you, aside from my father, he's my role model.
What is it that they do that defines their art and their business? I know he does television shows.
He does television shows, he does stage shows, he tours the United States.
Performs in venues, at venues, clubs.
These shows are being organized by his management company, which is not the same as this company. They engage him. It's a contract. He's an artist. Yes, we want to sign you for 5 years. And that's what he's been doing, and he's been renewing the contract. So
that's how the industry works.
That's how the industry works in advanced countries.
It's like you being a supermodel, and then you have agencies.
Yeah.
You have contracts with.
You have contracts.
So they prospect for the job and just invite you and take you down.
That is it. You don't know. Yours is They give you an itinerary, a timetable that next week you've got shows here and here. It's not for you to look for the shows, it is there. You've even signed a contract, so it's really working good there. But in Nigeria, it's been difficult. I'll tell you, because I remember during my dad days, my dad was the soul and blood and everything of the show. There was no sponsor, there was no management company, there were no corporate bodies. You know?
So it was run like a family business.
It was run like
himself, his wife, and his children.
And his children. So he was sponsoring his shows, he was sponsoring his publicity, he was sponsoring whatever he did then, it was solely his effort. But today it's better now, you know? It's really better now because
you have professional publicists now.
Professional publicists, we have management companies too. Yeah, but there's a clause to that. So
Tell us that clause. We want to learn.
no, there's clause to that. We all know what goes around, because they just want you to sign something. That's why I said being a lawyer, it opens my eyes to so many things. I mean, they just get you to sign a contract, loaded in it. You don't know some things that won't even favor you. Embedded in it, you wouldn't know. But as a lawyer, I take my time. I think the
lessons that entertainment people, showbiz people, and entrepreneurs generally should learn from this thing you just said is that you don't take contracts lightly. Get a professional. If you don't have the training,
if you don't have
the exposure.
If I'm not a lawyer, I won't sign a contract without getting a lawyer. Yeah.
So the fee you pay is an investment.
It's an investment and it's worth it. It's worth it. But at the end of the day, you just be in bondage for a very long time.
Let's go ahead and continue our discussion about the industry. How do you get jobs?
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Like I told you, I have a business plan, which I am executing, and so far so good. I've been in show business since I've been a kid, but when my dad passed on in '97, he was my best friend, so I had to take a break. I've been out of the country for a very long time. So I just got back 3 years ago, and just to revive magic, because since my dad died, there's no magician in Nigeria. So all you see is comedy, music, actors and actresses. I mean, magic was no.
So who is a typical client? I mean, tell us, who is a typical client of your business?
Anybody can be my client if you've got things to sell. If you've got things to sell, if you've got services to provide, and you want to pass across a message. I mean, it's like, you know what magic is. Even if you see anything, anything that's exciting, anything that is cool, wow.
Magicians create excitement. Anyway.
Just like magic, it works like magic. So since I got back in the industry, in the show business as a magician, we've got chains of clients and corporate bodies. We've performed for Etisalat, MTN, Nigeria Breweries, private companies.
And when you perform for them, is it an open show or exclusive shows?
Well, these are exclusive shows.
Okay.
Like I told you, I just said I have a business plan that I want to execute. I'm executing the plans. So this is my first stage.
For now, you're doing commission shows.
I'm doing commission shows.
You've not got into open shows yet.
I've not got into open shows. I'm doing commission shows to really bring magic back to people. Let people see what magic is all about. Let people know what magic is all about. Not like for a very long time people have been seeing magic live. I mean, if the few that have seen magic is been on television.
Now, when you say what magic is all about,
yes,
you were trying to clarify before the cameras rolled that what you do is entertainment magic.
Yes. Basically.
Now, please clarify for us, what do you mean by that, and what is magic all about?
Okay, I'll tell you this. If I'm going to define magic, David Copperfield said magic is an act of making the impossible possible. David Copperfield said that. Then we have Harry Blackstone. He just put it simply, magic is entertaining acts. You understand? But my dad, Professor Bella, he just said, he described magic as an act which is better seen than defined. He never defined magic, because he said if he was going to define magic from now till dawn.
What do you say magic is in your own parlance? And let me be specific here. In our climb here, we conceive of magic as something that has to do with voodoo or occultism or mysticism or animism, spiritism. Isn't that what magic is all about? Isn't it about conjuring spirits and whipping up Aladdins, like the Aladdin lamp? Isn't there some form of spiritual activity that goes on behind the scene for you to bring up those images that excite and entertain people?
Good, that's a misconception. I'll tell you what magic really is. Magic is like any other thing you learn. And anybody can learn magic. I'm not a magician because I'm Professor Pella's son. I have friends that their parents are not magicians. David Copperfield's parents were not magicians.
And you even said David Copperfield is a Christian, a committed practicing Christian.
Yeah, he's a committed
That's
practicing
news to
Christian,
me.
and the parents are committed practicing Christians. If you Google it, you get to know this. You see?
Isn't this just a smoke screen? Because we still believe that there is something that magicians do behind the scenes.
No, I'll tell you. I studied magic. I learned magic from my dad, Professor Peller. Then I went to magic school. I went to magic school in Italy. I went in the United States. I went in the UK. And basically, for you to be a good magician, all you have to learn is the act of meditation and concentration.
Really?
If you are able to meditate over what you want to get done, like I want to make my sister float in the air, I must have meditated before I come on stage. And when I get on stage, maybe if I put her on a bed and I want to float to the air, I get to concentrate. Once I'm able to concentrate, I get anything done on that stage.
So all the resources you need to be an entertainment magician are the art, or if you like, the skills of concentration and the skills of meditation.
That's all
you
need. All others that you learn from the magic schools, your choreography, your costume, your music, what goes with what, and that is it. Aside from that, nothing. I won't come on stage and start chanting anything. I don't chant anything. I won't come on stage and
charms and amulets.
No, I just come on stage like a gentleman.
So the only resource you need, or the only resources you need, are your concentration skills and your meditation skills.
Once you're able to master that, then you achieve your goal as a good magician.
So if I can get someone to train me to master the art of concentration and meditation, I could come into the profession and start making money.
Yeah, that's it. That's why like I said, like any other field, law, medicine, you have to study, you have to learn from somewhere.
If I live in Africa, and because all of the training schools you've mentioned are in Europe and America, and I don't have the means of traveling to those climes to undergo training, what are the options open to me?
Well, basically the option open is you have to learn. You have to learn from a professional, from the masters.
Like an apprentice.
Like an apprentice. But as I am, my dad show used to be a family show, but now it's my show. It's my show. So I have, when I was talking about stage assistants, they are learning.
Yeah.
They are learning at a point in time when I feel they're good enough, they'll have to go and start their magic show.
What do you see that convinces you that these guys are good enough to be let go to go and do their thing?
Yeah, this is from experience, because it happened to me. I started training under my dad, and then I started out as bring this, bring that, bring that. I mean, it was scripted, you know what to do next. So I started from there. So gradually, when my dad studied, he realized I was doing very well at it. Well, initially when I started, there were mistakes there and there. Looked at me with a stand look and correct myself the next show. And gradually things were getting better for me, and he promoted me to a stage manager. So when for you to become a stage manager, then you are good to go. So when he promoted me to the stage manager, that means everything was in my care. So my dad wouldn't even come on stage until like 30 minutes to the show. Then he'll come. He was rest assured that yes.
So if you have an apprentice now, you only need to look at consistency of delivery.
Consistency of delivery and the enthusiasm and the commitment. The commitment, and I have loads of them. I have about 4 assistants working with me now. I know who is who. I know if one is better than the other. Their performance are not the same. I know, okay, this is good, this is good, they're not going to graduate at the same time. So one is going to come first, like what happened to me. So from the stage manager, my dad just promoted me. Then I was doing shows on my own. I will premiere his show. I'll come before he comes in. I'll do the intro before my dad comes. That was where I started from. I remember the first time I had it. I can't remember what year now. We just got to the venue. He just said, okay, how's it? So you're going to do 10 minutes. and I was excited. So I
The
just,
opportunity.
yeah. I
Now,
had
when
the
you want to
opportunity.
choose, I mean, because I can imagine a lot of offers, a lot of people will be requesting that you make them your apprentice. What are the checklists that you consider before you accept to bring someone on as an apprentice?
Well, basically, he has to be someone that is learned, as in read and write.
So if you had a show tonight and I want to come and serve as your stage assistant, I can read, I can write. I'm qualified.
No, you're not qualified, because what I said, you said before I start training someone. Before before you can come for training, I said that is what you need.
Okay.
Basically, to be
But
able
for you to be
But for
a
you
stage
to
assistant,
be a stage assistant, you must have undergone training. I have the guys with me now. I've got 2 girls, 2 guys. Yeah, they've been with me a very long time. We've practiced together. We have scripts. We work through the scripts together, and we go through it together. And most of the time, we are practicing, because I have a studio in Lagos.
where you rehearse and practice.
We rehearse and practice. I mean, so they know what to do. So if anybody's coming now, you won't just jump on the stage, because you won't even know what to do.
So it's not as if it's because they're already used to the script, they're already familiar with the processes.
Yes.
It's not because you have to prepare them spiritually.
No,
for the
no, no,
performance.
no. You can be a Christian, you can be a Muslim. It doesn't really, it doesn't, like, I remember my dad telling a reporter then that Islam is my religion, magic is my profession. They're 2 different.
Is that the only option available to a new entrant in this climb?
Yes, that is the only option. That is the only option, because you have to be trained. It's like going to school. So the first thing first, you want to be a medical doctor, you have to study for it.
What does it entail to set up a training school?
Well, there are loads to it, because you need to get authentication from the International Brotherhood of Magicians, the world body of magicians. So they're going to give you a checklist, and once you meet the checklist, then it'll be authenticated.
You're good to go.
Good to go.
Coming up.
About street magic as they do abroad. You see it working here. So as an entrepreneur who sees a gap that can be explored or exploited, but I'm not a magician, I can't set up a training school. Is that what you're saying?
No, you can't set up a training school, because for you to be a member of the International Brotherhood of Magicians, you have to be a magician. For you to be a member of the Nigeria Bar Association, you have to be a lawyer.
Yeah, but we're talking here about just setting up a school. I'm not asking that I want to perform magic professionally. I just want to set up a school and bring magicians to come and train other
Well,
interested.
it doesn't work like that when it comes to magic. You have to be a magician. You must have undergone tutelage under a professional magician. And who is even going to recommend you? Who is even going to recommend you to the international body before you can become a member?
Now, do you do branding strategy? Because, I mean, since you manage this as a business,
Yep.
In today's business parlance, we talk about branding strategy. Do you also apply the principles of branding to your operations?
Yeah, basically, like I just said, I told you I have a business plan, which I am executing.
Which is not the same as branding principles, actually. But I do know that costuming, costumes and the processes are part of the branding strategy. But you would also agree with me that if it's a business, then there must be marketing tied to it somewhere.
Of course, there's marketing tied to it.
So what's your marketing strategy like, a typical marketing strategy?
Well, like
Besides the publicist that does that puts you in the public consciousness and puts your skills, your art in public consciousness, what other kinds of marketing variables do you
Well, that's what I
utilize?
do for now. The marketing strategy, a publicist that is putting, you know, like I'm just coming back into the industry because 2-3 years now. I mean, it's a gradual thing.
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a day. I haven't been around in a long time, so the terrain is still kind of. I'm getting myself familiar with the terrain,
Yeah.
and it's really coming up well. So I've got loads planned ahead, but for now I have a good publicist, a PR that is doing very well.
But what about collaboration like we have in other climes with non-magician organizations like media organizations like performance theaters, you know, clubs, venues,
Basically.
and so on?
Yeah, basically,
is that part of your plan?
It's part of my plan. Like I said, you see, I have a business plan mapped out, and I'm just going to
You're going
by
step by
step.
according to
And
plan.
oh, thank God, the first stage is really looking good. It's really looking good because this has brought us lots of good clients.
So your own entry, this is your second coming to this client. For now, is commission performances.
Yeah, for now it's
What are the
coming.
other options open to new entrants who don't want to go that route?
Yeah, new entrants will just want to go straight.
What are the other options available to them if they don't want to start with commissioned performances, where they get commissioned by corporate bodies or individuals at their events? What are the other options? I mean, you also mentioned that advertisers could also use you as subjects of the advertisement.
Yes,
That's
yes.
the same way we have other
Entertainers.
Those are just two options.
Yes.
What are the other options that
You've mentioned all the options. Most of it you've just done. As a magician, you can just decide that okay, I'm starting afresh. I'm new in the business. I just want to go and have a tour of Nigerian schools. Basically, people do that. You can just say, okay, I'm going to all the schools in Nigeria. If you want to do that,
and put together your own show.
yeah, the first thing is you put together your own show. If you're sure you have a good show, which you must let people tell you that, because I'm always pleased when after a show an audience walked up to me, a part of the audience walked up to me and said, "Oh, that was good. That was good. I haven't seen this."
For feedback.
Yes, I look for feedback and I get good feedback, and sometimes you get mixed feedback. You get, I mean, there's some that will say, "Well, that was scary. What you did was scary." I mean, some people don't like freaky
How do you know if
things.
they're telling you the truth? Because in our client, people like to be polite and civil. So how do you discern?
No, Nigerian people are blunt. I'll tell you this. Yeah, it's only your family or your friends that will tell you, yeah, that might be hiding things from you, but I've not met you before. You don't even want to walk up to me if you don't like my show. You understand? You don't even want to walk up to me.
Performance at venues,
Yeah.
like doing high institution tours. What other options? Because I really want us to explore the business.
You could do
side.
higher institution tours, shows, which they do in America and in England. Well, I wanted to do it, but it's still part of my plan. Like, I haven't been here, I've been away for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm fresh, I'm back in Nigeria, so it's still in my plan. I still want
What other options? Based on your experience in other climes, what other options?
The other options is to have your own show, your home moving show, like a circus, from state to state, from schools to schools, clubs to clubs. These are what you can get in the United States and in Europe. Our
What
friends
about
that
having your own television show?
well, I think magic basically, one kind of a person that don't support magic on telly, because people are so funny that they could walk up to you and say, okay, what you did on that telly was a camera trick.
Okay.
You understand? So that's why I want people to see it live. Yeah, maybe I'm going to get to a stage where I'll go telly, but for now I'm reviving it. I'm reviving magic. So I want people to see what magic is, to really appreciate it.
About street magic as they do abroad. Do you see it working here?
Well, I have a mixed feelings about it. You see, anything you see on the streets in Nigeria, you just think is a low-life person doing it. You get it? But when you see it in Europe, these guys are not low-life. Chris Angel is a millionaire. Yeah. He does street magic. But for me, I've actually had someone say, how would you just be doing something on the street, doing shows? No, how did it happen? Yes, I have a manager. I have this phone company. This phone company contacted my manager and they said they wanted to have a road show. Okay. And my manager just called me and told me, I spoke with the representative or so whatever, and they were organizing a roadshow and they want you to be there. And so he said he just told them that no, without even contacting me, because that's his own impression of a roadshow. That how can Zito do a roadshow on the street? You understand? So when he told me that, I know that's his impression. So me, I wouldn't do it too.
But you see a potential in it?
I see potential in it because they do it in Europe. Because I think it's just the mindset of the people. You understand? If people can really maybe see magic with an open mind, watch magic with an open mind without being biased, no extremists, no fanatics. You just say that you can see a comedian on the street, but even if you see a comedian on the street, you say, who's this person? Maybe he's a low life. But if you see a known comedian on the street, you start appreciating it, and that's what gave me the good feelings about it. That
what about creating products for children, like the magic box thing, like creating toys that can do one or two tricks?
Yes, we have that all over the world. We have that. If you walk,
having that here, do you see it being a commercial success?
Well, I see it as being a commercial success, but what I'm doing now is to enlighten people. Let people see what magic is all about. Let people know magic is not diabolical. Let people know magic is purely entertainment. If I'm able to do that, if I'm able to convince loads of people, then I see that as being a success.
So your own concept of commercial success has to begin with creating awareness, sensitizing the people.
Basically.
Helping them to have the correct
impression basically.
Of magic.
Basically, that is the first stage. That is the first stage on my business plan.
I need to ask, I've been wondering, now that you're here, when you create food, you create clothing materials, you create different kinds of edible. Can I eat the food you create?
They're edible, no harms. I do that at children's show. I produce sweets.
You conjure sweets.
Yeah, I produce sweets, biscuits, and the children take it. There's nothing to it.
Now, if you conjure clothing materials, can I take it home and wear it and use it on a permanent basis, or it will disappear?
It won't disappear. It's going to be permanent.
It will never disappear.
It will never disappear. It will never disappear.
So that means you can conjure money.
No, but I don't do it.
Why not?
It's against the ethics of my profession. You know, every profession have their ethics,
yeah,
and there's something.
If you don't tell,
it's not about. It's not about telling them. Even if you don't tell them, yeah. When something starts going wrong, you know that okay, I violated this.
Now, have you ever been accosted by anyone who just asks for a favor? Look, I'm tired of my spouse. I'm sorry, I've just been cheated. Can you please just make my spouse disappear forever or for a week or a month?
Well, I've got loads of people coming to me for
making all kinds of requests.
Making all kind of. He even started from school. You know, back in Ife days. You know, throughout my years in Ife, from Part 1 to 4,
yeah.
My dad never allowed me to perform magic on stage in school. You know, but then whenever I was going on show and I was on holiday, I'll go with him. But when there was shows on campus and I said, "Oh, Dad, I want to be part of this show," he said, "No, not yet." So I was wondering, why? I can do this. I'm just going to do 5-10 minutes. He said, "No." He never allowed me not until my final year. So after my final exams, and we did a show, a 3rd-month show. There about then it was. So I told him, and I said, okay. And I said, look, there is this show coming up, and it's my club that was organizing it. And I said, okay, you can go ahead. I said, so why? They said, you finished your final exams. So I now did the show. The attention I started getting from that day after that show, yeah, it was as if I was never on that campus. The attention, people were always coming, Zito, do this for me. Zito, do this
like
for me.
People asking you to conjure questions. Right?
Question, yeah. After then, you know, initially from first year, 2nd year, 3rd year, because I never did magic, all they knew was that this is Professor Peterson. This is his dad does magic and this and that. But when they saw me, and then I was like, so this guy can do magic. After that show, people, I was like a mini god on campus. It was like, hey, that's Professor Peterson. Some people will even shake me. Oh, no, I don't want to turn into whatever. So when I now go back home after the show, my dad said, oh, sure, fine. So I now told you what happened. They say, yes, I deliberately didn't let you start from part 1, because if you had started from part 1, you wouldn't have concentrated on your study, because it would have started like that. You would have become a star.
So how do you handle such requests?
Well, we just laugh it up. We laugh it off, and that is it. If you want me to make your spouse disappear,
whether people, you don't want me to sleep.
So we just laugh it off, and that's how it's been.
Coming up.
It happened again in Ondo. My mom was levitating. We got to a stage. She couldn't go up and she couldn't come down. So I was on stage. I was the stage manager.
How do you prepare yourself for a performance?
Before a performance.
Footballers, we know they go to the gym.
Before a performance, all I do, like I told you, I will say my prayers. No, I'll say my prayers. Make sure I finish my prayers. Most shows we have, yes, as a Muslim. Most shows we have now, most shows at night. So I'll finish my prayers. That's what I learned from my dad. He would have finished his prayer. Even if the show is coming up in the afternoon, I will say my afternoon prayer. Then when I'm going on stage, then I'll be back home. When I'm still at home, some minutes through the show, I'll meditate. Meditation and concentration. So when you go on stage, you have to concentrate 100%. If
99.999.
No, not 99.999. If you go on stage and lose concentration, things can go wrong.
Really?
Yeah, my sister can fall off from the air. You know, things can go wrong. Anything will go wrong. Because, and that's what I say, when I'm on stage, I smile, but I don't even see anybody.
So you're not smiling at people, it's just part of the choreography.
It's part of the choreography. You know, people think you're smiling at them, yeah, but you're not smiling at any particular person. I mean, it's just that, for me, it's just blank. Yeah. You're just doing your thing, because I mean, it happened to one of my friends before. He said he was doing something. That was in Spain. He was doing something. Then he was carried away by this girl that was flirting.
I was going to ask you.
But this guy that was like flirting, we hit him on stage, and it was like, yeah. So something went wrong with him. So
it could be fatal.
Yeah, it could be fatal. Yeah. So that's the essence of learning this thing, going to school, mastering things. So for me, it's all in all. I'm really trained for that.
So no distractions from the audience.
No distraction.
No pretty babe out there.
No, I won't.
Don't worry, your wife is not watching.
No.
She's not watching right now.
No, after the show, you could see pretty babes, but not when you're on stage. No, I know when
one of the very, very memorable performances. I watched many of your late father's performances on TV growing up. And one of the most memorable was the way he used to cut off Lady Pella then. So sometimes she's standing up and she's taking off her head.
Yeah.
And then sometimes he keeps her in a box and saws the box into pieces with her there. And then suddenly she comes out from the box again. We haven't seen you doing such performance. Can you do that as well?
Different kind of audience in Nigeria.
Okay.
In Europe, in America, you see people do things like that. I mean, but they call it gory. Some call it freaky. Some call it scary. You know. But I've tested the terrain here in Nigeria, and I can say that most of the audience they don't want to see things like that. They really want to be entertained. I had a show where I sliced my sister's head off, and almost half of the hall went out because they were scared. I had a show where I suspended my sister in the hair. The hair plus was grand. So I really studied the terrain, and I know what people want to see. But some people still like freaky, some people want scary. But you see, because I remember what you just said about my dad. I remember a very long time ago at the National Art Theatre in Lagos. My dad used to do cutting, and my mom would be in the box and they cut her into two. So there was a critic in one of the newspapers then. He just wrote that, well, why did Professor Pella have to put his wife in the box to cut? Why can't he just cut the wife in open view and people could so my dad now took up the challenge, and I remember my dad had an interview and he did say, look, I'm an entertainer. I want to entertain people. I don't want to scare people. So that's why I do that, and I hypnotize her before cutting her, and no blood.
Put it in the box.
Yes. So my dad now took up the challenge. So he had that show at the National Theatre, and I remember Chief Obafemi Awolowo was the chairman of the occasion. Alhaji Lateef Jakode was there. There were loads of dignitaries. Yes. And my dad just brought. Well, I was seeing it for the first time. I was a young boy then. I was still in secondary school.
And you put your mom on the table.
Yes, on the bed. And he now used this gigantic sewing machine. This very big, massive sewing machine.
Used for timber.
Yeah, for timber, the big one. And he just went. I was in the audience. My sisters, everybody were there. My brother was the stage manager then, so my big brothers. So my dad just went. When the saw just went through, there was blood everywhere. People were running out of the hall. Some people, the hall was half empty.
There was blood. Because I was going to ask you.
Yes, there was blood. Because then, because he wanted to entertain people, yes, no, that was why he was putting her in the box. That he didn't want to scare anybody. Yeah, so we just do a kind of. He saw that openly, and people were running out of the hall. And something else happened. Someone did something, and my dad couldn't get mom back together again. So my dad had to come. I knew he was very, very confused. He was worried. He was going backstage, coming back. He was going backstage, coming back. And after a while, they just covered up blood stains and everything, covered up mom's body. And he just picked the microphone and just said, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're really sorry about this. But if you have the ticket for this show, you can bring it tomorrow.
To collect the money back?
No, not to collect the money back. That will continue tomorrow.
Okay, that the show will continue?
Yes, tomorrow. And after then, my dad just left. I did not even see my dad. The driver just took him also. The driver took us. And the body was there. So his assistants were in the hall. They were all in the hall. After the show, my dad just went. When we got to the house, we saw his car, but he was just in his room. New Year, he had gone to meditate. He was in the room with him. So the next day,
and where was your mom's body?
He was there. He was on the bed. He was not a box. He was on the bed and he was covered, blood stain. Yeah, blood stain and everything. He was in the papers, and people talk about this a lot. People of his time, people of his age, people were there. Chief Obafemi Awolowo was there. Uncle Wale Awolowo of blessed memory too was there. So they were all like, confused, they were panicking, and they all came to the house, but nobody saw that.
Because they had locked it.
Yeah, we were all banking, but the next day he just came out. He did not even speak to anybody. He just came back straight to the theater, and he was backstage, still meditating. Everybody came. The hall was full. The hall was full, and all came back. Jack and they came back. All of them were all there. So at the end of the day, my dad came on stage, and he now narrated that he was really sorry about what happened. And I'll tell you what, somebody came on stage.
So somebody actually did a voodoo?
Yes. Somebody came on stage, a commissioner of police in Lagos State then. I can't remember his name, I was really young. He came and said he has killed his wife. That what happened because he was his friend. And I said, no, don't worry. Because we got a report, and this is why we're here. Police were all there and everything. So when my dad just came on stage and narrated what happened, the blood stain, our body was still there, and I covered it back.
The severed body was there for the whole of 2 days?
Yes.
And she was breathing?
No, she couldn't be breathing. She was gone.
She was dead?
Yeah, she was gone. His boys were the assistants were there.
So how did they put her back together?
Well, he was covered it up, and he was making a statement and this and this and that he's just an entertainer, and well, he was doing that act for the first time anyway. You know, like I said,
openly,
openly for the first time, cutting into two in a box. He does that. And I said something, and this went wrong, and all of a sudden, he covered the body was there. He covered it with another sheet, a plain white sheet, and he started the levitation. The all went wild because it started levitation. The body started levitating into the air, and all of a sudden he pulled the cloth off, and she was not there. And the next thing, she was beside the Bawulowo.
Right there?
Yeah, right there. Ill and healthy. It's in the papers too. Even my mom had an interview last year with the reporter referred to it. Yeah, so. It happened again in Ondo. My mom was levitating. It got to a stage, she couldn't go up and she couldn't come down. So I was on stage, I was the stage manager. So I now realized what could be happening. So immediately, my dad went backstage, he meditated. After like 10 minutes, he came on stage, and mom was able to come down. And after the show, my dad just rushed to the entrance of the hall, and people were going out, he just pulled one man in Agbada and he dipped his hand into his pocket, and he brought out a padlock. And my dad said, "What did I do to you? Do you know me?" And he just prostrated. I wanted to test
the power.
Yes, that someone just gave him
all these live experiences and glory, to create magic, and you still want to go ahead and do magic.
Oh, well, basically, I've got the training. Like you see, experience, they say, is the best teacher. I've been trained. I've experienced this with my dad. He was not in it alone then. If I lost my mom, what would have happened? But we were in it together. I mean, we couldn't sleep. We were all crying overnight, and it happened. So he told me what happened. So I knew. So now I'm ready for that. Yeah, I can guide against that, and that's why I said you must be good. You must get training in meditation and concentration.
And perhaps maybe other things that you're not telling us.
Well, there are no other things. Like I'm telling you, there is no voodoo in magic. Magic is what you can learn. If you Google it, I mean, you'll see training schools for magic.